Think about the person you love the most. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. You might not have chosen them at all. Your brain may have chosen them for you, based on something you don't even realize. That's not a metaphor. That's not poetry. That is neuroscience. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly how it happened and why knowing this might be the most important thing you ever learn about yourself. Like a city at night, you think to yourself, wow, there's just something about this person. We call it chemistry. We call it a spark. We write songs about it. We build entire movies around it. But here's what's actually happening in that moment. Your brain, in fractions of a second, is doing something far more calculated than you realize. It's running a pattern match. It's scanning that person's face, their voice, the way they carry themselves, the words they choose, and it's comparing all of it to a mental database you've been building since before you could ride a bike. That so-called spark, it's not random electricity, it's recognition. Your subconscious is saying, this matches something I already know. In the 1950s, a psychologist named John Money introduced a concept he called the love map. Your love map is essentially a subconscious blueprint, a deeply personal template formed during early childhood that defines what you find attractive, who you're drawn to, and what you consider your type. And here's the part that tends to make people uncomfortable. The core architecture of your love map is largely in place by the time you're 7 years old. 7. Before you've ever been on a date, before you even fully understood what romantic love was, your brain had already started building a profile of what it would one day look for in a partner. How? Through your earliest experiences with closeness, attachment, and emotional safety, through your parents or caregivers, not because they were romantic figures, but because they were your first teachers of what love looks and feels like. Through stories you heard, relationships you observed, moments when you felt safe, and moments when you didn't. All of that experience got wired together into a template, and as an adult, your brain uses that template to filter the world, quietly, automatically, without asking your permission. Now, most of us think we have a type for logical reasons. We might say things like, I need someone who's ambitious, or I want someone who makes me laugh, or they have to love the outdoors. These are our conscious checklists, and they feel very rational, very intentional, very much like we're in control. But here's the thing. Research consistently shows a gap between the partner we say we want and the partner we actually choose. In a landmark study by psychologists Paul Eastwick and Lucy Hunt, participants rated their ideal partner on a list of traits before a speed dating event. Then they actually met people. And guess what? The traits they'd listed as deal breakers barely predicted who they were attracted to in real life. Because attraction doesn't come from the prefrontal cortex, the rational decision-making part of your brain. It comes from deeper, more ancient structures, the limbic system, the amygdala, parts of your brain that were processing emotion and threat and attachment long before language even existed. Your checklist is a story you tell consciously. The pull is what your subconscious already decided. So, if your love map is built in childhood and runs quietly in the background, what is it actually scanning for? Researchers have identified a few key things. First, familiarity. Not familiarity in the sense that you've met this specific person before, but familiarity in the sense that they feel emotionally familiar. They remind you, on some level, of emotional dynamics you've already lived through. This is why people raised in chaotic households sometimes find themselves drawn to unpredictable partners. Not because they want chaos, but because their nervous system has learned to read that energy as intimacy. It's also why breaking a negative pattern in your love life is so genuinely hard. You're not just making a different choice, you're overriding a deeply conditioned expectation. Second, smell. And I know how that sounds, but there's strong evidence that humans are drawn to the scent of people with complementary immune systems, a phenomenon tied to something called the major histocompatibility complex, or MHC. We don't consciously smell compatibility, but our biology absolutely does. Third, mirroring. We tend to be more attracted to people who physically resemble us in subtle ways: facial symmetry, eye color, even the shape of their faces. Studies have found that couples, on average, look more alike than two randomly selected strangers. Your brain reads similarity as safety. None of this is conscious. None of it is deliberate. It's ancient, automatic, and it happens before you've even finished shaking someone's hand. Now, you might be sitting with a slightly unsettling feeling right now, and that's fair. Because if your brain is doing all this background processing, if your love map was written before you could read, does that mean romantic choice is an illusion? Does this mean you were never really in the driver's seat? Here's the honest answer. Partially, yes. The initial pull, that lightning bolt of attraction, is largely outside your conscious control. Your subconscious fires first. You feel it before you think it. But that's not the whole story. Because here's something crucial that neuroscience also tells us. The brain is plastic. It changes with experience. The love map you were handed in childhood isn't carved in stone. It can be rewritten, slowly, with work and with awareness. Therapy, particularly attachment-focused therapy, can help people understand the blueprint they're working from and start to revise it. Lived experience can update it. Relationships that defy your expectations can stretch it. Awareness itself is a form of agency. When you understand why you're drawn to certain people, you gain something you didn't have before, a choice about what to do with that pull. You can't stop your subconscious from firing, but you can learn to pause before you act on it and ask yourself, is this pull leading me somewhere I actually want to go? We started this video with a question about the person you love the most, and maybe now that question feels different. Maybe instead of, did I choose them, you're asking, what did my choosing say about me? Because your love map isn't just a list of preferences, it's a record of your emotional history. It's a map of what your nervous system learned to call home. And when you fall for someone, when that pull is undeniable, you're not just responding to them, you're responding to every experience that shaped you, every relationship that taught you something about closeness, every moment that told you what love was supposed to feel like. That's not less romantic. If anything, it's more so. It means that love, real love, lasting love, isn't just chemistry, it's archaeology. It's the slow, patient work of understanding yourself well enough to know what you actually need, and then choosing, consciously, to build something with that person. You might not have chosen your partner with your conscious mind, but you can choose what you do next. If this made you think differently about attraction or about yourself, consider sharing it with someone you love. And if you want to go deeper on the psychology of relationships, the link in the description is worth your time. I'll see you in the next one.